Please go crazy for Mr. Tony Berry.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Before I start, I too would like to pay my respects to the original inhabitants and the caretakers and custodians of this land. And I'm glad those guys came along to make that, because over the last 220 years they've been watching our behaviour. God only knows what they think of us because of the way we've allowed the land to be desecrated and degraded. But first of all, I'd just like to thank all the young people who are here today. Yeah, wonderful. And I believe it's the role of us old buggers to create in these young people an appetite for activism. Because it's the only thing that's going to nourish these youth who are feeling powerless because of what they're told they have to have so that they can be somebody, and they're being denied the opportunity to find out who they really are. Good on you guys. Don't let the corporations hijack your lives. Here today on this beautiful Sunday morning, we all belong to a very broad church. The 99% pissed off majority who are waiting to see our politicians do something about the corrupt activity of the corporations. Our politicians in the main, apart from the Greens and the odd independent, they're not of the calibre, nor do they have the commitment, and in most cases they don't have the smarts. They're a bunch of dumb. But they supposedly work for you. And it's up to you to tell them what you want them to do. So if you make a commitment today to get one or two of your friends and neighbours to get together and write letters and make phone calls and emails and texts and try and get in to see the politicians and make them aware of how you feel about the skullduggerous activity run by the banksters who are trying to take over what's left of this land and to degrade the water so that successive generations are going to be finishing up cleaners of a cesspit. That's not going to happen, is it? We as the 99% majority are the answer. We are the solution. And our actions will determine the quality of life for generations who follow. Now, there's an old mate of mine, Dennis Kevins. He was an activist for 40 odd years. He didn't live to see this, he died a few years ago. But he wrote a beautiful poem. It was called, "Ah, White Man, Have You Any Sacred Sites?" I'd like to do that today, and I'd like to replace white man with miner to make it a bit more specific. It goes like this. Ah, miner, I'm searching for the sites sacred to you, where you walk in silent worship, and you whisper poems too, where you tread like me and wonder, and your eyes are filled with tears, and you see the tracks you've travelled down, your 50,000 years. I'm searching round Australia, I'm searching night and day for a site to you so sacred that you won't give it away for a bit of coloured paper. Say a church they're knocking down, or the Rocks, your nation's birthplace by the bridge in Sydney town. Your schools, I've travelled through them, heard the sound of swishing canes, heard the yell of angry teachers crushing flowers in their brains, heard the bark up on the rostrum where the powers have their say. Wouldn't children's hearts be sacred, though they're made like mine of clay? What is sacred to you, white man? What is sacred to your heart? Is Australia just a quarry for the bauxite belts to start? And the tinkle of the bellbirds in the mountains just something more to sell? Ah, miners, I'm searching for the sites sacred to you, But the rivers, clear as crystal, smell like sewerfuls of spew from the pipe and pump polluters and the nukes that fleck the foam. Would you let a man with dirty boots go walking through your home? Sacred, sacred, sacred. Gee, you chuck that word about. And when echoes answer sacred, sacred louder still you shout. But if I should make an act of faith and a voice both firm and clear that there's something sacred to me, you start crying in your beer. What is sacred to you, white man? What is sacred to your clan? Are your totems rainbow feathered? Is there dreaming in you, man? Sacred means that. Sacred. That's my mother. That's my father. That's my son. Sacred, where the dreaming whispers hope for everyone. In the silence of the grottos of Australia's mighty land, stand together with the Kuris. Stand together, hand in hand. Open eyes to endless beauty and to spirits far and near. For Australia is my country. It is sacred to me here. Ah, miners, I'm searching for the sights sacred to you. Well, you walk in silent worship, and you whisper poems too, where you tread like me in wonder, and your eyes are filled with tears, and you see the tracks you've travelled down, your 50,000 years. Dennis Kevins. Thank you. Dennis Kevins would have loved to have been here today. He was a great man. There was a lot of activists. But remember, marching across the bridge, 500,000 people marched against the war. It didn't change anything. It can't be a one-off event. This must have to be the beginning, the foundation of a movement that is going to move all around the world as it's doing. I picked out something off the net. This was a guy called Bill McKibben, and he's an organiser of tarsandaction.org. And he said in Manhattan, in lower Manhattan, there was a Marine with a t-shirt that said, "Don't tread on me." And on the side, on the arm, he had a little sticker saying, "No fracking." And he had a pair of fatigue pants, army pants on. And on those he had, "I've fought for my country twice. This is the first time I've known who the enemy is." Yeah. And when the police attack the veterans, and you, as they invariably will, because unfortunately at this stage that's their role, remember Mahatma Gandhi. Remember Mahatma Gandhi. Remember Nelson Mandela. And try and exercise the compassion of Mother Teresa. And then you'll have a movement that will be absolutely and irrevocably unstoppable. Okay, nearly finished. Just, we used to be members of a global community before we became components of a global economy. The global economy is stuffed. Let me say that again. The global economy is stuffed. And it's nothing to be frightened of, because it's going to strip away the facade. And it's going to allow us to get away from productivity and back to principle. So whatever happens, don't be frightened, because what's happening now is a gift in shitty wrapping paper. Okay, I believe this is National Water Week. I believe this is also the International Year of the Farmer, and if it's not, it should be. But I just want to pass this on. What I love about these gatherings is the creativity that evolves and develops. And I was speaking to a guy earlier, a youth worker called Bob Purcell, and he said, if the farmers, as we know, the farmers around here take out their own mineral rights leases, then it thwarts the gas companies from doing the same. So I leave that with you. And I just want to say this, the older I get, and I'm an old bugger, the older I get, the more I realise we're just here to plant seeds, not necessarily witness the harvest. But there's the harvest, all our young people down here. Good on you guys, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.